creator of what he is calling the final experiment, for joining us for a live interview. Welcome. We have a lot of questions for you, some from listeners and some from Ronnie and I. My goal is to find out as much as we can about you because you are brand new to flat earth versus heliocentric debate that has been raging here on YouTube for the last 10 years. You seem to think that you have a way to end the debate, and having an outsider come in and offer what is supposed to be the final answer on the true nature of our reality is not going to be well received if people feel that they cannot trust you. So what we want to do is find out who the real Will Duffy is. Does that sound fair?
It does, but unfortunately, you don't need to trust me. That's the purpose of science, and I created the final experiment. All you have to trust is the sun.
Well, that's great. So tonight our focus is going to be on the biblical aspect of you because we are Christians first and flat earthers second, and Team Ball Earth channels have no interest in the fact that you're a pastor because they are atheists by vast majority. Then I would like to get into the nitty-gritty of the final experiment with you. And finally, if we've got enough time, we would like to get to know more about your personal background. I'm not here to refute you on your answers, but rather to get your position on as many things as I can. So I'm going to try to push the pace to get through as many of these questions that that have come in for you. And if we can get through these questions in less than an hour, you can take off early if you want, or stick around and chat for a while if you want. I do not know if you know this, but we here at Team Yahawashai are Christians that believe in the Bible. And from what I've heard, you're a Christian pastor. So my first question to you is, how do you support heliocentrism biblically?
I've never said I support heliocentrism.
What do you support?
I have not looked into the heliocentrism versus geocentrism debate, so I don't have a position on it. I've said that from the very beginning. My main goal is the shape of the Earth. Once we settle that, I'm going to start looking into everything else.
All right. Well, are you a big banger, or are you a God made each individual thing separately and then gave them a push guy? Or am I missing an option? We're against false dichotomies here.
I see issues with the Big Bang. I do believe that God created the universe, and so sometimes we look at things, or the world looks at things, and they interpret them one way, but the reality was it was done by God, and so I would say I reject the Big Bang.
All right. RJ Shine asks, when do you think atheism came about as a concept, and by what mechanism do you think people are able to deny having a creator?
I have no idea when atheism came about as a concept. The Bible says, the fool says in his heart there is no God, so atheism is very old. Rejecting a creator is a position that I see as untenable. I can't look at the world we live in, the design, the complexity, and think that that was chance.
All right. How old do you say the universe is?
Uh, so I don't know. I have stated in the past that I believe it's around 10,000 years old, but we have a problem, which is in the debate of the age of the Earth or the age of the universe, I don't think we can solve that. And here's why. If God created a tree, a fully mature tree with tree rings, 1 minute ago, I would argue that the tree was 1 minute old. Somebody would come along and say that the tree was older because of the tree rings. I don't know how to solve that. And so I'm not that interested in the age of the Earth.
All right. Do you want me referring to it as a universe, or do you use words like cosmos? You know that the word universe came about as a result of the word Catholic coming up. What do you prefer to, or what's the correct biblical term that you use when referring to either the cosmos or universe?
Universe is fine with me. Cosmos is fine with me.
All right. RJ Shine asked, do you believe that the Book of Enoch is inspired canon?
Nope.
All right. Did you know that the Book of Enoch has a whole section on the course of the luminaries that matches our model exactly, and that our model shows where the six gates are that Enoch was referring to?
I don't know your model, and so I didn't know that a model in Enoch matches your model.
All right.
But yes, I was aware. I'm not that familiar with it, but I am aware that there is that there's statements about the sun and things inside in the Book of Enoch.
That's good. RJ Shine asks, how do you explain the sun standing still instead of the earth stopping its rotation in the book of Joshua?
Perspective and what you observe.
How do you explain earth having four corners, as the Bible repeatedly states?
Just a figure of speech. I think it could be referring to the four cardinal directions.
How do you explain earth being fixed and immovable with heliocentrism or any sort of globe type cosmology?
Yeah. So again, these are figures of speech, right? Like Jesus is the rock, but he's not actually a rock. And so the world being immovable means that we can't change what it's doing. We can't change its rotation, its orbit, and we also don't feel motion.
All right. RJ Shine asks, do you believe that there is a such thing as up and down in the universe? And if not, where is heaven and hell in your cosmology?
In my cosmology, I think it's likely that the universe is rather small, maybe like a marble, and it could be that the marble is on something like a pedestal in God's domain.
RJ
But
Shine,
again, we have no evidence of that, but that's just how I envision it.
yeah, that's all we're asking for. RJ Shine asks, are you an open theist? And if yes, please explain.
I am, yes. I believe the future is open and not settled. I believe this because I think everybody prioritizes attributes of God on things that they think are either more fundamental, more foundational, or more important. And so I do believe that the single most fundamental attribute of God is freedom. So I think first and foremost, God is free, meaning he has free will. He has the ability to decide, to make decisions. And so if God is free, then his future cannot be settled. So therefore, I believe the future is open.
All right. RJ Shine asks, how do you respond to the accusation that you are actually trying to debunk the Bible?
I haven't heard that accusation.
I
So
think he's making it by the fact that you're going with a cosmology that goes against the, earth being fixed and having four corners and that kind of stuff. But how many times do you actually preach at your church per month?
I can't answer that. I take vacations, so I don't know how to answer that.
All right. Can you give us a schedule for when you preach at your church so that we can check it out?
No. If somebody wants to make sure I'm there, just send me an email and ask if I'll be there.
Okay. We have a question from Virtual Reality Witness. I have heard at Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, who interviewed you recently, mention on his recent streams that he knows some people who have attempted to go to a service at your church recently. They told him that your church was closed during posted service times. One guy said there was a sign that said closed for renovations. Has your church been closed during regular service times?
Nope. So whoever said that is either lying or they were at the wrong location. And I guarantee you they didn't take a picture or a video. So if they were at our church, they're lying.
All right. Will you make a public live stream of your sermons available so that we can all check them out?
They're all on YouTube.
All of them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the aspiration of becoming a mega church pastor with the fame you received from the final experiment?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
It's hard enough being a pastor of a small church.
All right. What are your credentials for being a pastor?
That I love God and preach the salvation through Jesus Christ.
Okay, but what school? Where did you get your accreditation?
I don't have an accreditation.
Okay. Have you ever saved someone?
No, God saves.
Okay. How did you go from being a military millionaire to being a pastor?
Man, I love rumors, man. I was never a military millionaire, so I don't know where that came from. I became a pastor in 2021 because our pastor died unexpectedly. And so this was not something that was something I planned on doing or even saw was going to be in my future. But when your own pastor dies and his family and the church asks you to take over, it's a decision you got to make. And I thought it was a good decision and I felt a bit of a calling, so I decided to do it.
Is it true that McToon came and spoke at your church, and how did that come about?
MC Toon came and spoke at my church. He contacted me, said he was working on a new presentation for churches, and he wanted to see if our church would be the first one to let him try it out, and I said yes.
All right. Your church's website outlines that. Now, is it Denver Bible Church? Is that your church?
Nope. No, it's not.
What is your church?
Agape Kingdom Fellowship.
All right. And they reside at different addresses?
No, Denver Bible Church is no more. That was the previous church where the pastor died.
All right. But is it at the same building?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what's the website for your church?
akf.church.
Okay. What about dinosaurs? Are you into the whole young dinosaurs thing?
Yes.
Okay. What is your position on dinosaurs?
God created dinosaurs. Dinosaurs lived alongside man. We have found soft tissue in dinosaurs all over the place. And there's other evidence that dinosaurs lived alongside man. So that's my take.
All right. So RJ Shine asks, how do you respond to the accusation that arguing dinosaurs are actually young and recent is a way to promote that dinosaurs existed, thus defending evolution?
That's not a valid question.
Well,
Dinosaurs existing does not mean evolution is true.
okay. Do you have a Bible verse for where the dinosaurs were created?
Well, they were created with the animals in Genesis 1.
Okay. So you said before that, I just want to double check here. Do you believe in evolution? Did these dinosaurs become anything that exists right now?
I don't understand your second question. I do not believe in evolution. People have asked me to talk to them about this, and I'm willing to after the final experiment is over, but I think evolution is one of the silliest things I've ever heard.
All right. RJ Shine asks, do you think bad people go to hell? And what things do you teach will result in a person going to hell? Please list them.
Everybody has sinned. And so if that's what the definition of bad is, then yes, anybody that goes to hell is a bad person, and anybody that goes to heaven is also a bad person.
The question is who, though? What differentiates between the good and the bad?
Well, nothing differentiates between the good and the bad. Bad people go to heaven, bad people go to hell. What differentiates people who go to heaven and hell are people who accept God and today accept Jesus Christ as their Savior. That hasn't always been the case throughout the Bible, but that is what the case is today.
All right. Virtual Reality Witness asks you to tell us about your connection to deceased Pastor Bob Enyart of the Denver Bible Church.
I attended his church and I was his good friend.
When did you take over, and are there any other pastors at your church?
I took over in November of 2021, and there are no other pastors.
All right. So how does Bob Enyart's death from the COVID illness while he was a public figure that fought against the COVID jab affect your congregation and you?
If you lose your pastor, it affects your congregation. These questions are bizarre, by the way. This is by far the most bizarre interview I've done on the final experiment. So congratulations.
All right. Well, that's great. But we're asking the questions that people want to ask you. So
what? If you contact me and you want to interview me about the final experiment, talk about the final experiment. Don't be rude.
I'm not being rude. I'm asking you questions.
No, you are. Let's talk about the final experiment because that's what you said you wanted to talk about. That's what I do interviews about.
All right. Well, let's go.
Do you want me to start asking you about your deceased friends? This is bizarre. Who are you guys?
You're gonna find out.
Yes, yeah. Let's find out because this is bizarre. Is this what you do to everybody that's on your show? You start asking them about their deceased friends? Like, I'm in shock right now.
We ask questions. All right,
because no. You ask bizarre questions, and people warned me about coming on your show, and now I see why.
People want to know all the details about you because you came out of nowhere, and here you are saying that you are offering the final experiment. So we can...
Correct. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the final experiment.
Let's go to it. Why do you call our model a simulation and say we are saying nothing is real? Who was it that told you that we say that if you deny knowing that a virtual reality explanation for reality exists, right?
I didn't call your model anything. I didn't know about your model. So that's number one.
So where did you come up with Cube Earth?
A friend at a church gave it to me.
Okay.
As a gag gift.
And that had no reference to do with us?
No.
What was the comment about Some people say that we're in a simulation and that nothing is real.
People have contacted me saying there's another model, which is a simulation.
All right, well, all right, so Yahweh's daughter asks, how many working models of reality do you think there are?
One.
All right, you finally got that one right. You said two before. Are you aware?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said two working models of Earth.
I did not say of reality. There's a difference. There's only one reality. There are two working models that are trying to figure out what this reality is. And they are globe and they are flat. Those are the only two.
No, that's not true. Are you aware that denying our model that exists creates a false dichotomy?
What's the third?
Ours, the stereographic virtual reality.
Are you flat or globe?
Flat.
So then you fit into the two.
What?
I said the two competing models are globe and flat. You fit into flat.
Yeah, but we have a completely different model than the pressurized pizza dome that is being debunked by your model. Our model actually predicts it.
Okay, so can you help me understand what a virtual reality model is, please?
It's simple. Have you ever heard of a virtual reality before?
Yes.
Okay, you know that Facebook changed their name to Meta because they're developing a virtual reality. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Do you think it's impossible for a virtual reality to exist while Facebook is creating a virtual reality?
It's not a valid question. Are you talking about a virtual reality of something that I put over my eyes? Because that's real.
I'm talking about a virtual reality where your five senses, your sight, your hearing, your smell, your taste, and the full sense of touch are the senses that you experience in a virtual reality.
I believe in evidence, and I think things are evidence-based. Do you have evidence of this?
Yes.
What is the evidence?
The model predicts it. All right, so the model actually
That's not an answer.
It is, because the sun and moon and all the luminaries rise and set into Earth. Right, that's what the model predicts, and that is at an absolute contrast to the globe Earth and to the pressurized pizza dome. It's the only model that has the luminaries rotating into and out of Earth, right? It's the only explanation.
Hold on. What do you mean by into Earth?
We'll be explaining it to you with, you're gonna watch back and you're going to see the path of the luminaries in the stereographic virtual model, how they actually rise from and set into Earth in your circle of sight. How far do you think you can see?
Hold on a second. If something goes into the Earth, that doesn't prove virtual reality. I'm waiting for evidence.
Do you think that the sun can go into Earth in any other model?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Hold on. Is there evidence that the sun goes into Earth? Has this been seen, photographed, or videoed?
Yes. Yes. For the last 7 years, the content is all over our channels, and we're not the only ones that get it. In fact, if you look up clouds behind the sun, you can see that hundreds, if not thousands, of people have actually documented this, and it's a very well-known phenomena.
Clouds are above the Earth, not in the Earth. So a sun behind clouds is not evidence that the sun goes into the Earth.
Clouds behind the sun, in our circle of sight.
Okay, I know, but you haven't given me any evidence that that virtual reality is real, and you haven't given me any evidence that the sun goes into the Earth.
This is not a place where we're going to be debating it. What we're going through is asking you a bunch of questions right now because we want to get your position on things.
Okay, great.
All right, because
so I'm not accepting your model because you haven't given any evidence. So far, there's globe and flat. That's it. Let's keep going.
So you are going to have to watch the evidence that we have for our model at some point. So I'm going to point you to Stereographic Virtual Reality Explained, right? It's a video that's underneath an hour that actually explains the entire working map and model.
Real quick, does the word stereographic mean it originates with a sphere?
No, it means two. Do you know that stereo, you've got a left and a right, there's two things. So there are two poles on Earth, and a stereographic map has two poles.
Okay, so
I've got more questions for you.
Okay, so I Googled stereographic, and it says that it means it comes from a sphere. So it sounds like you guys have redefined a word, just FYI.
You'll be able to look back and watch the graphics that are on the screen right now, and you'll be able to see what a stereographic map looks like, and you'll actually see that it is a plane. Right, it is flat. So we've got more questions for you.
Great.
Yahawashai's daughter would like to know if there are any interviews or podcasts where you have heard someone refer to awakened souls or Ronnie Jason while mocking our coordinate system in a model of a flat Earth.
No,
So you've never watched any of our content, right?
no. The only video I've seen is the 13-minute video inviting me to come on.
All right, well, you're going to be forced to watch the rest of our content because we have had another model that's existed for the last 7 years that's accurate to 100th of a degree per second.
I bet it originated from the globe.
It has the sun rising from and setting into Earth, so they can't use it. So, after all this, will you add stereographic virtual reality as a third option to the final experiment now that we're providing evidence to you that a third model exists?
No, there's no evidence that's been presented to me yet.
When we present the evidence to you, will you?
If you present evidence to me that we live in a virtual reality,
No,
I'll
that a
consider it.
third model exists.
If there's evidence,
You can't create a false dichotomy and rule out another model before it's even allowed into the conversation.
if there's a third model with evidence, yes.
All right, it's on the screen. How did Sean G know that you were going to be interviewed by me during this interview with you?
He asked me he asked me what my next flat Earth interview was, and I told him.
All right, how was it that you were able to read from a teleprompter while doing a live interview with Sean G, one of the only 3 people to say that they're flat earthers and then switch back to a globe, and then continue to be able to read while Sean was speaking?
I don't read from a teleprompter. I don't own one. You guys are really awesome. I love this.
All right. In my invitation for an interview, I brought up an idea to make the final experiment better regarding taking azimuth and elevation angles to the sun the entire time you're in Antarctica. You're being asked by Vega627 in the comment to the promo video to ask you for that data as well. Are you willing to provide it and document it in a way that it's transparent and proves that it was not faked or altered?
First of all, how does it make the experiment better?
So,
What will it tell us?
So our model predicts the exact azimuth and altitude of the sun at any location on Earth any day of the year. So if you give us your coordinates, we can tell you the exact elevation angles to the sun. And then if you are out there with some sort of theodolite or similar type tool recording the elevation and azimuth of the sun the entire time, we can test to see whether or not that matches our model. Now the thing is the heliocentric model doesn't have any sort of tool like that. So you guys are going to need to make something before December, but we want to know whether or not that data matches our model.
Okay, so just so I understand, your model has one sun, correct?
Every person sees one sun only. Yeah, there's no person will ever see a second sun ever.
That was slick. How many suns exist in your model?
Each person will only see one sun ever.
Okay, so how many people are in the world? Like 7 billion?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 7 billion suns in your model?
But there's 7 billion people, right?
So there's 7 billion suns.
How many mosquitoes are there? Right?
So when my wife gives birth, there's a new sun.
Each
because we now have a baby.
Each person sees the luminaries to their own perspective because we're in a stereographic virtual reality. And that's the only reason why the luminaries can rise and set from Earth. So we've got more questions for you. RJ Shine has a suggestion to make the final experiment better as well. He says, take the flight to the South Pole location and film the compass staying locked as you spin around the South Pole. You'll be the first human ever to have recorded such an event. What do you think of that idea? Will RJ Shine score a point with his suggestion if you use it?
No, we're not going to the South Pole. I think you guys should probably do that if you want to. And by the way, which South Pole is he talking about?
You tell us.
I don't know.
Is magnetic, of course. He said a compass. He didn't say a theodolite. Is there any sort of documentary or movie being made in association with the final experiment?
No.
Rich Spillman asks, is he or has he ever been associated with NASA?
No.
RJ Shine asks, what oaths have you sworn in your life? And there's other people that have asked that similar question.
Say it again.
What oaths have you sworn in your life?
I don't recall swearing any oaths.
All right. RJ Shine asks, what did you do for the military and for how long?
I wasn't in the military ever.
How did you end up on a show, Military to Millionaire?
A client of mine, I believe, either has that show or his friend did, a previous client, and they asked me to come on the show to talk about finances.
So you're not military, but they had you on the show?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, people in the military still need to get advice on their finances.
All right. All right. RJ Shine asks, are you an asset or contractor of any intelligence agency, either government or private?
No,
All right. Do you have aspirations to monetize the final experiment in any way?
no,
What type of crowdfunding do you personally plan to be a part of?
none.
Do you have any support in running the final experiment, or are you a one-man show?
I'm a one-man show. I don't know how to make websites. I've got a guy that helps me with that. And I don't know how to make videos, meaning our original 6 videos. So I paid a guy to do that, but I'm a one-man show.
All right. Did any of the channels that you've done interviews with know you before you announced the Antarctic observation?
Yes, MC Tune, because he was at my church.
How was it? How did it come about that you had McToon at your church?
I already answered that.
What do you plan on doing with your YouTube channel after you think you've proved that you stood upside down on the bottom of a ball?
I have no idea.
RJ Shine asks, why are you spending all this money when simply looking at the sunrise and set angles everywhere south of the equator debunks the pressurized pizza dome? That would be the AE map model.
They don't accept that. So I'm doing something that they have stated over and over and over again that they would accept.
All right. For the last 7 years, there's only been obvious CGI videos with cuts in them, and now within the last 4 months, lots of high-quality real video is surfacing. Are you able to provide a list of all the videos you think are real footage of the sun never setting in Antarctica?
Yes.
All right. Nothing that's going to be discreditable, of course, right?
Well, hold on for a second. This is important. Does a 24-hour sun in Antarctica work on your model?
It's predicted.
Hold on. Does it work on your model?
It's predicted. Yes. That's what the model says, by 100th of a degree per second.
Okay, so your model says where anybody goes, whatever they see is what we predict. That's your model?
No, there's an actual website. A lot of tools where you can move yourself around and it'll give you the exact time to the second and the 100th of a degree where the luminaries are going to be.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Jason. This is probably the most important question I could ever ask you. Do you know the name Andrew Marsh?
Yes, I use that website a lot.
So your model comes from Andrew Marsh, correct?
But it also is the same one that SunCalc and MoonCalc and Stellarium.
Andrew Marsh created that visual on the screen right now, correct?
That one does come from Andrew Marsh.
Okay, great. And does Andrew Marsh believe that he's modeling a flat Earth?
It's fixed and stationary. You can clearly see in the model that it's not moving.
You're not answering my question. The guy who created
I
your
am
model,
not going to speak to what he believes.
Okay, so you stole somebody's globe model.
It's not a globe. It's not a globe model.
Yes,
because
it is.
It has the luminaries rising from and setting into Earth.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
It's literally within the circle of sight. And I will be showing everybody that the SunCalc website, the MoonCalc website, and that Stellarium all do the exact same thing with the luminaries rising from and setting into Earth. That is our model.
I contacted Andrew Marsh, and you definitely stole his model, and he did not create a model that he was saying shows a sun going into the Earth. You should at least be honest about that.
How is it that you didn't know about us whatsoever and you've already contacted Andrew Marsh?
Someone contacted me today about 3 hours ago, and they said, hey, Will, you need to know something. And I was like, wow, this is very interesting.
All right, so let's get this clear. I want to have you on record for this. Will you provide all of the real footage that you know of in the north and south that shows a 24-hour sun? And we're looking for the highest quality stuff. We've already found 8K 360 cam, and how much of this can you provide for us? And will you post it on your website and all that kind of stuff?
I won't post it on my website. I'll tell you the two people that I know of who have filmed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Is that the only footage that you can provide? Is that the only examples?
It's a lot, and it's actually more than everything in the North combined.
All right.
So that should be plenty, right?
Share it up. So are you willing to show that footage to Jaron and Witsit doesn't get it before spending all the money to send them there? If you could prove that the footage is real to Jaron and Witsit doesn't get it by showing them all the real footage before they go, you could save a lot of money.
That's false. They've seen it and they don't believe it. So they want to see it with their own eyes.
Jaron's only shown videos that have splices in them. He hasn't shown any real footage yet whatsoever.
I have not watched everything that he's done. So
we do. So let's face it, you are going to be going there some way or another, right? The Globers are going to crowdfund for you?
There's no crowdfunding that's being discussed right now.
All right.
I will be there if I can.
Zworst has a more technical question for you. The heliocentric model totally contradicts Euclidean geometry, which is the foundation of geometry. All lines parallel to each other never intersect. If the axis of the globe are parallel to each other, then where is Polaris? Can you explain that?
No.
All right. Let's see here. RJ Shine asks, why did you bring your children into the YouTube videos regarding this observation you're calling an experiment?
I only brought one of my children into one video because his favorite animal is a wolf, and he was announcing Wolfie 6020 getting on the scoreboard.
All right. Did you give any thought to the character assassination that you would go through and that you would be subjecting your children to?
No, the flat earth community is brutal.
All right. Yahawashai's daughter asks, why are you already talking about the final experiment 2.0?
I'm not. Man, you guys really struggle with understanding things that people say.
We're actually really good at documenting what people say, and that's what we're doing right now.
Context matters. Context matters, people.
All right, so let's go back. We have 9 fundamental truths that we stand on here as a team, right? And we've been working together over the last 7 years to actually test and verify these 9 fundamental truths. And so they're found in the description box of all of our videos. And I want to go through this list of truths and check this out with you. And so fundamental truth number 1 has to do with heliocentrism being the strong delusion. Considering you are a heliocentrist or some sort of a ball earther, what do you teach is the strong delusion that people will perish as a result of?
As I mentioned before, I don't say that I'm a heliocentrist.
Or a ball earther, right?
Well, yeah, but what if geocentrism is true and the Earth is a globe?
That's a ball.
Right?
That's a ball, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Either way, it's either a stationary ball or it's a moving ball. But you're a baller either way, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. So fundamental truth number 2 reads, and this is a really important one because it's been in the description box since February of 2018. It says the AE map model is impossible, created and disseminated primarily by the Freemasons to destroy the credibility of the Bible with an easily debunked model that they have worked so hard to try and link the Bible to. Considering that we have been exposing the pressurized pizza dome model as a non-working, irrational psyop for over 7 years, how do you still deny that the final experiment is a false dichotomy?
I deny it because you guys have given 0 evidence for your model. 0.
Fundamental truth number 3 reads, we are in a virtual reality. The material reality that we have been taught by scientists that goes back to the ancient Greek philosophy of atomism is impossible. So first off, do you know what a virtual reality is?
Yes, and you've given no evidence that we exist in a virtual reality.
All right. Do you think that simulations and virtual realities are the same?
No.
Okay. Do you believe in the ancient Greek theory of atomism or atoms?
I've never heard of atomism.
That's the theory that things are made out of atoms. Have you heard of atoms?
I do believe in atoms, yes.
Okay. Can you prove that they
Hold on.
exist?
Do you guys believe in atoms?
No, this is fundamental truth number 3, the stereographic virtual reality. Do you have a way that you can prove atoms exist, or is it just still a theory, as everybody says right now?
I've not researched atoms, so I'm not sure.
All right. So if you believe in atoms, how do you explain the luminaries being created on the fourth day of creation and day and night being created on the first day of creation?
Yes. So the day and night on the first day of creation is actually the rotation of the Earth. And this is technical, and I'm not an expert in this, but the matter in the universe, when it was originally created before it was formed, would have light to it. And so that would light up one half of the globe. I haven't heard an answer from flat earthers as to what the day and night were before the sun and the moon were created. Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the biblical proof that we're in a virtual reality, because you can turn on the day and night before the luminaries show up, right? In fact, you actually need to have the light in order to see what you're working on in the scene. So
Who was seeing the virtual reality before there were humans? Because that's what we're talking about.
the creator, the
So the
creator in Christ,
creator, it's even a virtual reality for God. Okay.
he created a virtual reality. So
Which you have not given evidence for.
all right. Fundamental truth number 4 reads, the creator of this world is the author of the Bible, YHWH, pronounced Yahawashai, and his son and only begotten is our Savior, Yahawashai, who died on a torture stake for us and was resurrected. There was no letter J until about 500 years ago, which is about the time that the strong delusion was rolled out. What names do you use that you teach are the correct names of the creator in Christ?
I don't teach that there are correct names.
All right. So what do you use?
I use God, I use Lord, I use Jesus Christ. I'm fine with the English words. I don't think people have to speak in Hebrew to talk to God.
All right. RJ Shine asked, did you know it means earth pig? Jesus, the word Jesus, that it means earth pig.
No, I did not know that.
All right. Did you know that the Jesuits made the name Jesus when they created their secret society of Jesus?
I did not know that.
Did you know that the word God is a Germanic pagan slang title for the demon Gadriel, introduced to the Bible first in the 600s AD?
I did not know that.
Jay Skills asks, are you familiar with the Tetragrammaton, YHWH? If so, do you believe this to be the true name of the author of the Holy Scriptures and the creator of all existence?
Yes, I'm familiar, and yes, I believe that's a proper name for God.
Okay. Joshua Hughes asked a lot of the same questions, but also wanted to know if you know when the letters J and V were created and the implications of that.
I disagree with this whole premise. We don't know how these things were pronounced. And so you could have a J or a V pronunciation without having the letters J and V or their equivalents in Hebrew.
All right. Fundamental truth number 5 is about the true Hebrew calendar. The true Hebrew calendar is a lunisolar, and the month of Nisan, Aries, or the Lamb, or Abib, is the head of the year. Passover must take place while the sun is in the constellation of the Lamb. Do you and your congregation celebrate Passover on the true Hebrew calendar Nisan 14th, or do you celebrate the pagan festival Easter?
We don't celebrate Passover or Easter.
Are there any holidays or holy days that you celebrate?
Yes,
What are those?
Christmas and Resurrection Day.
All right. Fundamental truth number 6 is the Trinity is Kabbalism. The 3-in-1 doctrine is just 3 parts of the Sephirot and is labeled Christian Kabbalism. Are you a Trinitarian?
Yes.
Do you know the origins of the Trinity doctrine?
No.
Okay. Fundamental truth number 7, the rapture is of the wicked to judgment. Do you believe in the rapture, and do you teach that we are in the end times spoken of in the book of Revelations?
I do not teach that we're in the end times, and I don't know what I think about the rapture. It's not something that I really care that much about, because if it happens, it happens. It's not something we can predict.
All right. Fundamental truth number 8, reincarnation is biblically true doctrine as confirmed by John the Baptist being Elijah and Yahawashai being Adam. Do you believe that John the Baptist was Elijah?
I think it's possible based on what was stated in the Gospels, yes.
What is your explanation for Christ being called the second Adam?
Um, it's figurative. So, Adam in Genesis is, the firstborn, and then Jesus is referred to as the firstborn over all creation. And so you've got a man who's kind of the first son, and then you've got the second person of the Trinity who's the first son of the Father.
Mhm. How do you explain Christ's death redeeming Adam's sins?
How do I explain it?
Yeah. What's your explanation? How does Christ's death redeem Adam's sins?
Well, I don't think it redeems Adam's sins. I believe it redeems Adam's sin, which is what I think is being discussed in Romans 5. So I believe that none of us are guilty of Adam's original sin that he committed because of Christ's death, but he, I'm sure, committed other sins throughout his life.
All right. Fundamental truth number 9. Once saved, always saved is false doctrine from John Calvin, a Vatican puppet fake reformer also responsible for killing an opponent of the Trinity. Do you teach once saved, always saved?
No, I'm against it.
What's your stance on the Vatican and the Catholics?
I don't I don't really care.
All right. Who do you teach is Mystery Babylon?
I don't teach who that is. I don't know.
Okay. Um, let's see. How are we doing here? How about
I
we?
have
How
I have
about
a
we?
couple questions for you based on your video about me for that 13-minute video.
Yeah.
On your map, which is a little bit hard to see, but it's kind of behind you there.
Hmm.
Uh, what happens when the sun gets to the far right or the far left?
It starts over on the other side. We've got graphics that demonstrate that.
So
I can
is that
send you
like
links to it. No.
a teleportation?
At what point do you see the sun traveling horizontally above that plane? It's circling around each observer. There is no physical sun that's up at any distance, like 1,000 miles, 3,000 miles, 300,000 miles, that's traveling in a horizontal line across the plane. It's literally traveling around each observer. That's the reason why the model up above has the sun rising from and setting into Earth. Right? There is no Pac-Man sun. We are absolutely 100% against that. And I just have to point out that every single person that's either referred to our model as a simulation, a Pac-Man sun, and now Cube Earth, right, has always been a part of a New World Order psyop trying to suppress what we've been sharing. So stop doing
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I haven't said that. I haven't said those terms. So my
Okay.
next question for you is if someone gets on a boat in the water on the right side of your model, what happens to them when they reach the edge?
Have you ever heard of the video game Asteroids?
No.
It's really like the first major release of any video game, and it demonstrates how in a virtual world, how a character that's moving in a line of direction can come out on the other side, moving in that same line of direction at the same velocity, all that same kind of stuff. And our world has water all the way around the boundaries except for Antarctica. And what you would be able to do is just move seamlessly throughout the world. All right. So
So
it's a
people teleport?
no, no. It's
So when they go on a boat to the edge of your model, do they teleport to the other side?
we're talking about being in a virtual reality with the luminaries rotating around each observer. This whole concept of teleportation has to do with like you're imagining a spaceship going through a wall like you're in some sort of sci-fi movie and going through and coming out the other side. So it it's a
I
stereo
don't understand the purpose of a map if it's all virtual reality. That doesn't make sense to me.
because
Couldn't vir
it's actually a coordinate system that geolocates to you. That's how the stars render to your location based on your latitude, longitude, and elevation.
Okay, so isn't it possible that one person's virtual reality can be different than another's?
No, because we actually pair up and talk to other people and experience the same thing.
But you haven't talked to everybody. So is it possible somebody you haven't talked to has a different virtual reality than you?
You're asking hypothetical questions now, and
Absolutely, I
the
am.
I'm the one interviewing you. So let's keep moving.
Ah, okay.
So where did you grow up?
Colorado.
What was your religious upbringing?
I was not raised in a religious home until I was about 7 years old, and then I was raised in the Lutheran church.
You have any siblings?
Dude, this is insane.
Do you have any
Like,
siblings?
you are like so crazy in the head that you think this is normal conversation.
These are
How about this?
questions that people want to know the answers to.
How about this? How much money is in your bank account right now?
That's one of my questions for you coming up because you're
Yeah,
the.
exactly. Because you guys are insane. You won't answer the questions you're asking me, which means you don't have a solid basis on what it means to be a normal human being in this world.
We're not making claims of being a millionaire. So, what is your net worth?
You're insane.
Are you a,
That's what,
are you
that's
a,
what my net worth is.
are you a billionaire or a millionaire? Because you didn't answer the question in a straight way where people could actually know, right? So which is it? Are you a millionaire or a billionaire?
Next question.
How many books have you sold?
Next question.
No. No, you're supposedly a millionaire and you say that you made the money off
What?
of selling books. How many
Jason.
books have you sold?
Jason, what does this matter?
Because we're trying to validate where your income comes from because you've
No.
made certain claims.
Jason, you don't have to validate anything.
That's what we're doing right now.
No,
Yes.
it's not.
Yes.
No. All the final experiment is doing is validating whether or not we live on a globe or a flat Earth. There's only two models. The fact that you stole the globe model from Andrew Marsh
That's
doesn't
our
mean you
model.
have a
It has
third
the
model.
sun and moon rising from Earth.
The fact that you say it's our model
It
is
is.
such a lie. Did
No.
you create it?
No, but it is. It
So then
represents.
why is it?
Because
how can you say it's
because it
our model?
represents the sun
No.
and moon coming out of Earth, the luminaries rising
The
from Earth,
person
setting
who
into Earth.
created it make it so that they believe the sun goes into the Earth. Yes or no?
They have to match where the luminaries are, and the model actually
You
proves.
won't answer
the model
question,
proves it.
Jason, you won't answer the question. You stole a globe model, and I hope that I can help expose that in this interview.
No, the interview is me interviewing you. So Amazon only has one of your books available. Where can a person get all of your books?
My books are no longer in print.
What?
That's right.
What's your position on cryptocurrency?
Jason, this is insane.
What's
If
your
you want-
position? Are you into crypto? Are you like, is this where people should invest? You're supposed to be a financial advisor, right?
I am not giving financial advice. I'm no longer a financial advisor. I am the creator of the final experiment, which will prove whether we live on a globe or a flat Earth.
Because
It's that simple.
because of your experience in finance, what is your number one investment strategy you would like to share with our audience that'll help them get rich quick?
I'm no longer licensed to give financial advice.
All right. How do you reconcile Matthew 19:24, which reads, "And I tell you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of Yahawashai." What's your investment strategies and desire to make other people rich as well? How do you justify your lifestyle against Matthew 19:24?
Matthew 19:24 is stating that something is impossible. So a camel cannot go through the eye of a needle. It's impossible. And so it's saying that the only way to be saved is through God.
All right. So in your interview with Sean G, you said that people claiming to have amputated limbs regrown through miracles is a serious threat to the Christian church and should be stamped out through the use of experiments such as you're doing with the final experiment. Do you have any ideas for what kind of experiment would prove your case?
Yes, if people are claiming that amputees' limbs are being regrown, they should give evidence of it, and they never do.
How did you become the radio producer for Bob Enyart?
Sorry, next question.
Do you produce any other shows?
No.
What role do you play?
I don't produce any shows, by the way.
What are your personal aspirations?
To prove whether we live on a globe or a flat Earth.
Have you heard of our water level test?
No.
All right. RJ Shine says, to score another point for flat Earth and make your final experiment better, I have another suggestion. We are trying to prove the shape of the ground. I suggest you do a 3-mile water level experiment and use a 3-mile stretch of shoreline and a few site surveyors to measure posts placed every half mile to lay out a 3-mile wall. What do you think of that suggestion?
Is water real in your model?
Everything exists in this world. Like
What is water in your model? If you had to define it, what is it made of in your model?
so, every single element is exactly that element, right? And they appear
No.
in the world.
What is water made of? Is it made of atoms in your model?
Atoms don't exist. They've never been
Okay,
proven
so-
to exist.
Perfect. So what is water made of in your model? Before we're going to go do a water level test, what is water in your model?
Water is water, wood is wood, stone is stone, flesh
What
is
is water
flesh.
made of in your model?
Nope, ask the creator. I mean, I'm not the person to ask that.
Right. So yeah, so I guess we can't do a water test if you don't know what water is made of.
What? Say that again because we're going to use that clip.
Sure, we can't do a water test if you don't know what water is made of. Please use that clip.
2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. We know what it's made out of. But can you prove that it's made out of atoms?
Someone might be able to. I can't personally. Again, what is hydrogen? What is oxygen in your model?
Those are, every element is exactly what it is. It's nothing else. All right. Well, I feel like I've gotten through the vast majority of questions. You got really squeamish up at the top section when we were going through all the biblical stuff. If you've got a little bit more time, we've got a lot of people are asking about this Bob Enyart, and you're not giving any answers. So I mean, this is going to be an ongoing topic unless if you actually get out on the record on it.
Do you want so he is not me. Maybe he is. Is that something that happens in virtual reality or what?
No, it's the connection
How-
between characters. Have you ever heard about association?
No.
No, when you associate a person with another person, birds of a feather flock together. You've never heard any of these types of idioms?
I've heard of that idiom.
Okay. All right. You ask me questions now because we got through the majority of the questions for you.
Yeah, when someone goes to the top of your map, what happens? Where do they go when they get to the edge of your top of your rectangle map?
The poles are clearly identified. So
No, that doesn't answer my question. When they get to the top of your rectangle map, there's a huge top. When they get there, what happens to them?
you continue through the other side at the same direction, same velocity that you were traveling.
So you teleport to the bottom of your map.
You use the word teleport, but we're saying that we're in a virtual reality.
Okay,
You're going to have to watch. You're going to have
this
to
is
watch,
fascinating.
watch a video game called Asteroids. It was made in 1979 that demonstrates how this actually works.
Okay, so this is fascinating to me because Alaska is at the top of your map and Antarctica is at the bottom. So you're saying someone could be in Alaska and get to Antarctica almost instantaneously?
We've always stated that down the prime meridian actually offers a possible shortcut.
Okay, so do you know of anyone ever in human history that was in Alaska and was almost instantaneously in Antarctica?
We've actually, but the thing is, you have to look at all the distances. This is an actual coordinate system that gives you, we can tell you the exact distances between any location on here, better than any other thing possible.
That's
So
fine.
we'll measure the distances, and I'll tell you how long the trip would take at what speed. We can calculate it all.
Well, let's just do Alaska going to the top of your map, teleporting back down to the bottom to Antarctica. That should happen almost instantaneously, correct?
We'll make a video about it showing the actual distances based on the latitude and longitude.
Honestly, this is important. This would make the final experiment better because we're all going to be taking long flights to get to Antarctica when we could all just go to Alaska and teleport to Antarctica.
There's no teleporting.
I know, but we could get there quicker through Alaska.
No, when you measure it out, you'll actually see that the distances are going to be equivalent.
Are you sure you're going to make a video on this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So go to the very tip of the island of Alaska at the top of your map, and then do the distance to the top of your map, and then do the distance at the bottom of your map where Antarctica is. I think you're going to find that that's going to be a very short distance.
We're going from the North Pole, yes, up to the top, and then up through the bottom. All the mileages are going to be exactly as predicted because they use our coordinate system. I
didn't ask for the North Pole.
No,
I asked for that tip of Alaska.
No, we're measuring from the North Pole.
No. I looked at your map for 5 minutes before this interview, and I noticed that Alaska's at the very top of your map. So I want you to do that. I don't want you to do the North Pole.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it with Alaska. It's a coordinate system, so it's exactly the correct numbers.
We'll see about that.
We will. Yeah, we're going to be making lots of videos about you. You're not going to forget who we are. All the way through the final experiment, we're going to be writing and exposing every single thing that comes out from the heliocentric shills, the part that you play in it, and the part that all the fake flat earthers play in it as well. Because once again, fundamental truth number 2 was designed to block against this play that you guys are doing right now, and that is, we knew when we brought out that the AE Mappa model was impossible to the characters like Jeranism, David Weiss, all these other characters, we went after all of them and we showed them all that it was impossible 7 years, and it's really well documented that we've done all that. So now this has been about a 10-year run as far as Flat Earth is concerned. It was 2014 when Eric DeBay and Matt Powerland sort of got things rolling. And now 2024, you come along with the final experiment and say that you're gonna debunk the AE Mappa model that we debunked 7 years ago. Which, yeah, we could have saved you a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money a long time ago.
I'm only debunking models that have evidence. You still have given zero evidence that we exist in a virtual reality. You just keep claiming it. That's not evidence.
You are going to have to use the model that we use in order to come up with your azimuth and altitude calculations. So,
okay, but that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not we're in a virtual reality. I feel like you don't need
having
that.
the luminaries rise and set into the ground. Do you have any other explanation for that?
I asked you if you have any evidence that the sun has ever gone into the earth, and you said
yes.
Someone saw it in the clouds. The clouds are not in the earth.
No, that is another source of information. We show trees behind the sun as it rises out through the ground. This is all well documented for the last 7 years. There's a lot of it.
So you're saying you have video evidence of the sun going into the earth?
It's in the Stereographic Virtual Reality Explained video. So I recommend that you start with watching that one.
So yeah, but the evidence is in a video. So what is the
have you ever watched the evidence? Is the footage. It's P1000 footage. And the thing is we are not the only ones that capture this footage. It's actually well documented from people everywhere on Earth. They get the same footage. You zoom in and you can actually see these things taking place. And it shows that the luminaries are rising from Earth and setting into it. The shadows being cast by the luminaries actually prove the azimuth and altitude angles that come from our calculators. So we're waiting for the heliocentric model. You're going to have to look back and you're going to have to show us the model that shows all 5 motions, all the spins, all the orbits, all the trajectories. We're going to have to see all of that to scale for everything that the heliocentrists say exists, right? So,
do you have a drone?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So why is it that when you fly a drone up in your model, why does the sun come back out of the earth?
Yeah, because the mall angel, I actually have proven this at a mall here in Austin. The entire video, the mall angel shows on a flat plane how people disappear from the bottom up because of our distance to the horizon, the vanishing point. And the drone, by increasing your elevation, you increase your circle of sight. It's actually all super well documented in the mall angel video. So that's another link that you are going to have to watch.
Here's what I'm actually asking. If the sun goes into the earth, a drone can't pull it out.
Yes, it can, because it increases the circle of sight. So as the circle of sight increases, you can see further, and now it's still visible. All right.
If I go higher here, I should. Oh, it's the same. That's weird.
Yeah, that's exactly how it
coming
works.
Out.
Yeah, you can do it until the sun is set too far where you can't get to an elevation high enough to bring it back out again. But yes, there's so many videos of this being documented.
This is one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it's too bad you think that, but it's not going away, and we have all the evidence. And there's not just 2 models.
Go away.
No.
I don't see how anybody's going to accept that we live in a virtual reality when you can't give evidence of it.
You're saying that we can't give evidence when we have 7 years of evidence.
Just give me your one piece.
I told you, go watch the Stereographic Virtual Reality Explained video. There it is.
Okay. It's in some video somewhere.
How do you share a concept?
I show evidence.
All right, so Show me the evidence for an atom right now.
I don't, number one, I've already told you I can't prove that there's atoms. Maybe someone else can. It's not something I've researched. But you're the one staking this as like your number one claim, and you just, I haven't seen any evidence.
That's because you said you've never looked.
Yeah, I know, but I'm supposedly
Yeah.
talking to the man. So I figured if I went to the source, I'd get it and not be told, oh, I'm not going to give it to you. Go watch a video somewhere.
No, the purpose of this was to interview you and get your positions on a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah, that are completely irrelevant and not related to the final experiment whatsoever. Yeah, that was good stuff.
It is shaping people's opinion of you. The way that you responded to all these questions, they now get to see where you're coming from. And if the questions aren't asked,
Right.
people don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's the beauty of science is it eliminates bias. What my view is irrelevant. What my past is irrelevant. What my friends are, or my even my deceased friends are, is all irrelevant to science and what the sun does.
Well, I will be waiting for you to present the model that shows the 5 different motions to scale of the universe, right? Because our model is on the screen right now, and this is what we'll be making predictions for
Yeah.
your observation in Antarctica. So we're going to be covering this the entire time. Will you be putting up the azimuth and altitude data?
If we can, yes. And again, I'm gonna. Uh, I do believe you stole your model from Andrew Marsh, and I do not
You
believe
don't
the
even
person who
you don't
created the
even
model.
you don't even know about our model. You were saying that you don't know who we are. You didn't know that another model exists. Yet now you're making these bold claims that we stole the model from somebody else that you did the research today. Get out
Yeah,
of here with that.
correct. If you think Andrew Marsh believes we live in a stereographic virtual reality and believes that the sun goes into the earth, state that right now, but I bet you won't.
What about sun calc? What about moon calc? And what about stellarium? We're going to be showing every single model that represents the sun, moon, and stars rising from Earth and setting Earth. That's our model. Nobody else gets to use it because unless if you're going to tell me that in heliocentrism the sun goes into Earth and comes out of Earth, you can't use the model that shows that.
If this model shows that, we need to go to the person who created the model and said, "Is this what you were creating?" That's how you do truth. That's how you do proper investigation.
Are you
But you won't do that.
are you incapable of comprehending something without asking the creator of whatever it is that you're doing? Like when you use a new app, do you have to talk to the creator and find out from him how to use the app before you use the app, or are you able to figure out how to use it?
I can figure out how to use it, but that doesn't mean that that's what they intended it for. People can take things out of context and make them into something that they're not.
Can you see on the screen that it's actually a fixed immovable plane where it's not moving? It's not. I can rotate that model right with the cursor. I can move the plane around so that you can see this from all the different perspectives. But the model itself is not moving, and the data is showing the sun rising at 0 degrees, coming up to a 90-degree altitude, and setting at 90 degrees south. That's 180 degrees. That's a plane, right? So that's not a curved surface. And not only that, it shows the luminaries going into the plane and coming out of the plane. It doesn't even hide that fact. All the shadows are based on it, right? So
There's a reason why, which you don't understand, which is that the sun can only light up half of the globe at a time. And so it doesn't make sense that there would only be shadows for part of a day. You literally don't understand the model that you've stolen and you're making it into something that it's not.
that's not true. And we will be exposing all throughout this entire experiment that this is our model and you can't use it. We won't let you use it. You have to
It's
come up with your own.
it's Andrew Marsh's model, and you have stolen it and made it into something that it's not. So you actually don't have a model that you created. You have a model from a globe person.
There are
That's the truth.
there are hundreds of these that we can use that actually represent the luminaries
Correct.
coming
None of
from
them are
Earth.
yours. None of
They
them are
are
yours.
based on
They're
the
all stolen.
they are based on the telemetry data of the luminaries in a person's circle of sight on a flat plane. Every single one of these are, and we'll be showing it. I mean, everything that you're saying right here is a lie, and it will be exposed.
Okay. You should make your own model instead of stealing globe models. That's what I think you should do.
The correct model is the one that represents what's taking place, right? Only one model can do that. And it's these models that are centered with the observer in the center and the luminaries rotating around on a fixed and stationary flat plane. That's it.
How do you know what the sun does in Antarctica?
All we know is what the model predicts. That's the reason why
Ah,
we want you to take the azimuth and altitude
I hope
data.
people can see the fact that you've stolen a globe model to make your predictions, which means they're going to match the globe. This is hilarious to me.
Does the globe model have the luminaries rising from Earth and setting into Earth? Is that the case?
It,
Is that what
it,
you're
it,
saying?
it appears that way from an observer's perspective.
No, I
Yes.
can show you on every one of these tools that is what's happening. It
Well,
doesn't.
let's go ask the creator of the tools if that's what they're showing with their tool.
I don't need to ask that question because I can see from the data exactly what's being shown.
Here's what you're doing. So, have you ever played with Google Earth on your phone?
Sure.
Great. Is the Earth rotating?
The Earth is rotating if you spin it around in space.
Yeah, but it's not rotating. When you open up the app, it's not rotating. It's stationary. And so you could just go steal that model and say, "Oh, look, here's my model. It's
No, that
I
would
believe in a stationary Earth because of this app. This app is my model."
no. It shows a globe. That's a totally
No,
different
I'm just
model.
saying a globe person could do what you do, which is go steal someone else's app and be like, "I believe in a stationary globe. Look at my model right here. It's perfect." That's what you're doing.
How long ago did the geocentrism come into existence? When did that begin?
No idea.
It was in the 1600s. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Double check that. It was in the 1600s that geocentrism began, and it came from the Vatican. The Vatican is responsible for geocentrism. And then, do you know when heliocentrism came into existence?
No idea.
That was in the 1850s. All right. So, what do you think maps looked like before globes existed?
I have no idea. I don't have any. They were probably wrong, but they probably have been improved now.
No, they weren't wrong. People were able to navigate by the maps that were flat maps without using globes. So, yeah,
That doesn't
this is
that
a
doesn't make them right. I'm just saying shapes would be
this is a
wrong.
brand new concept that people are flying around in space. In fact, it wasn't really until the 1950s that anybody started believing it, with the moon landings, those psyops and stuff like that. So actually, in the early 1900s, people were all still very much fixed plane earthers, and it's really just the Vatican's influence that has spread geocentrism and then heliocentrism throughout the world. So we'd take it back to the Mystery Babylon. Is that an important thing to you in the Bible at all, as far as who the beast is, who it is that gets destroyed in Revelation and the end times?
No, it's not.
No? All right. What do you think is the most important thing?
In what context?
Yeah, well, so is the final experiment the most important thing in the world?
Not even close.
What's the most important thing?
My own personal salvation.
Do you think liars and deceivers are going to inherit the kingdom of Yahawashai?
If they repent, yes. Are you a liar?
I used to be. I stopped 10 years ago, but yeah, everybody has lied.
Right, so everybody's a liar.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I will anxiously await evidence that we live in a virtual reality, and if I don't receive it, I will not consider that as an option. So,
Well, we
let me know.
we anxiously will be giving you all that evidence. One final question everybody's been asking: what's up with the grin? Right, a lot of people talk about your grin demonstrating duper's delight. And what do you say to people talking about the weird, silly grin that never goes away on your face?
I'm a happy person.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that, and then we are going to keep covering you, right, all the way through this final experiment. So thank you for joining. Are we going to get a point on the scoreboard for this?
You'll be on the interview scoreboard, yes.
All right. That's fantastic. We got a whole bunch of ideas for you. We're going to inundate you with ideas. In fact, there might be other people that come along as a result and want to interview you more regarding this. So we're going to keep the attention on you. How does that sound, Will?
Sounds great. I'll just wait for the evidence that we exist in a virtual reality.
All right, sounds good. Well,
Bye-bye.
thank you for joining, everybody.